Are you tired of making bad food? Well, today I'm going to teach you how to make a steak the proper way. I learned this recipe working in a kitchen and working under several head chefs. It's nothing hard. A lot of people get intimidated when they start making beef, and it's not something to be afraid of. This recipe is a fairly common recipe, and it's well known and it's well respected. So let's get to the prereqs. Prerequisites. We're going to be using a T-bone steak. You can use any meat as long as it's about an inch or half an inch to an inch thick. Salt, black pepper, unsalted butter, rosemary, thyme, and avocado oil. The reason why we want to use unsalted butter is we want to control the amount of salt content in our beef. We're also using avocado oil because according to C1A Professional Head Chef, avocado oil has the highest smoke point, which allows for us to get a perfect sear on our steak. We will also be using garlic to flavor it. Now moving on to our salad. We'll be using lettuce, lemon, Dijon mustard, and granulated sugar, and regular olive oil. Now that we have listed out all of our ingredients, let's move on to the prep phase. To prep our steak, we want to cover both sides in pepper and salt. We want to use an excess amount of it because, according to Gordon Ramsay, you will lose about 30 to 40% of the salt and pepper you use when you sear your steak. Now, this might look like a lot, but it's not. I already took care of doing the other backside. I can show you. Salt and peppered. But now we want to prep our lettuce. Prepping our lettuce for our salad isn't too hard. We want to cut off the ends, quickly toss them away, and then I prefer to just go down the center like this. Nothing too fancy. And then I give a solid chop down the center, break in even pieces, and now we have our side for the salad. And that's it. Now it's time for us to begin cooking.
You're going to want to set the temp to high, and you're going to want to use a cast iron skillet because it's non-stick, as well as you're going to want to work in a well-ventilated area. I currently have a hood vent going because we're going to catch a lot of smoke coming up when we start to sear the steak.
Now's about as good a venting time as ever to start putting our oil in. We're going to want to put a little bit in. We're going to want to work it around that pan. We're going to let it sit for a moment.
Then we'll go ahead and drop the meat. I think it's about time we put the meat in. Guys, remember to make sure to grab a rag so that way you can grab the handle of the pan later on. And always remember to place the steak away from you. I'm going to let this cook for about a minute and 30, so I'll see you guys back before we flip it.
While our steak is cooking, I'm going to teach you guys how to make quick salad dressing. So all you're going to need is a bit of Tupperware. Take a little bit of olive oil, not much. Then you're going to pour in a bit of lemon juice. You're going to want to grab like half a teaspoon of sugar, not much, not that much. Put it in. And I cannot stress this enough. Just a tad bit of Dijon mustard. We're not even going to use this whole thing. We're going to drip in there like that. That's about good. You're then going to cap it, shake it up, and then you're going to have your lemon vinaigrette. You're going to pour it in. Once that's complete, all you're going to do is take another lid to a bowl, toss it on top, and you're going to shake it like a martini glass. And there you go. There's a tossed salad.
It's also about time we check back in on the steak. It's been about a minute and 30. It's time for us to flip our steak. As you can see, that's a nice bit of crust forming. I'm going to let it cook for about another minute 30. See you back soon. A minute and 30's passed. About time we flip again.
Now look at that. That's a nice char on the backside.
So right about now is when we want to start throwing our aromatics in. Throw our garlic on, let that cook, put our rosemary and put our thyme in. Now, since we're using dried rosemary, we're just going to sprinkle it all on the steak and in the corners. We'll let it sit like this for about 30 seconds and then we'll throw our butter in. Okay, it's been about 30 seconds. It's time we flip our steak and toss your butter in. Once the butter's melted, we're going to start basting it over our beef and we'll reflip it and then baste it again, and that'll be it. All right, so now you're going to want to make sure you got a spoon in hand and your rag in hand. Now we're going to start basting the butter over the steak. The butter is the key component as it helps spread the garlic flavor, the rosemary, and the thyme flavor over the actual steak so it gets absorbed. You're going to want to do this for about 15 seconds each side. It's been about 15 seconds already, so I'm going to go ahead and flip the steak and repeat the exact same process. I'm going to let it sit in the butter and I'm just going to baste it on top. After these next 15, 20 seconds are up, I'm going to take the steak off and I'm going to let it rest for 5 minutes. So I'm going to skip to that part. Now, like any good cook making steak, you're going to pull it off and let it sit for 5 minutes.
Now that I've finished cooking, go ahead and pour yourself a glass of wine, and I'll see you guys at the dinner table. Okay. This is the final product. That looks like a pretty good piece of meat to me. Now, some do's and don'ts. Don't cook your steak medium or well done. That's like eating a catcher's glove. You should only be eating rare to medium rare. Medium rare is pretty good, but I highly suggest rare. That's what I prefer my steaks at.